start today with the big film, if you like, of the week, and that is the film Wonka. Emma, do you want to introduce Wonka to us?
Yeah, of course. So a young Willy Wonka decides he wants to follow his dreams to become one of the world's best chocolatiers, and he heads off to see out that dream, only to discover that there's a chocolate cartel.
This seems to be a film which a lot of people really like. There do seem to be a few haters around, including Kevin Mayer, I should say, of the Times, who seems to be leading the charge of negatives about this. What did you make of Wonka? Did you have a good time?
You know what? I absolutely... it was thrilling. I really had a great time watching it. I'm terrible with the music though, but I still have like some of the songs popping into my head, and a lot of people that I've been speaking to, or I've caught a bit of them talking about it online, like it's just going around in their head non-stop without reminder, which I think is just a great sign that it's been put together really well.
Yeah.
I thought it was lovely seeing so many faces pop up that I recognised as well. I just genuinely liked it all round. I honestly didn't have anything to grumble about after seeing it.
Yeah.
And Timothy Chalamet, I'm a bit hit and miss on.
I am too. Yeah.
I've come to like him a little bit more. I think after I saw him in The King, since then I've sort of gradually got on board with his stuff, but I thought
I think Chalamet's really good in the right film.
Yes,
but there were some performances like Bones and All. I didn't get on with him in that at all. I'm afraid I really didn't rate him. I didn't think he had the chops to actually deliver against that. But I agree with you that in Wonka, I mean, who knew he can sing like that and dance like that? I mean, he has a lovely voice. And apparently, I read somewhere that his mother was a professional dancer, so that's clearly where he got his dancing genes from, as it were. But I thought, like you, I thought it was delightful. I thought the songs by Neil Hannon were. I mean, I'm actually quite a fan of Divine Comedy in terms of their previous output, and some of their songs in this film are just pure Divine Comedy in terms of the way in which they play. What's that one about a perfect world? I can't remember what the title is now. Come on, Google, tell me what it is. Yeah. But that is almost directly off a Divine Comedy album, I thought. And anybody who can rhyme chocolate with isocolate and pocolate is just having a laugh. But I thought it was terrific. The illustrious Mrs. Movie Man also absolutely loved it, and she's been gushing to everybody that will listen about the fact you should go and take your kids to see this film. Yeah, I thought it was cracking. I think the supporting cast as well in it, Olivia Colman, I thought was terrific as Mrs. Scrubbit. She was having a whale of a time. And so was the guy who plays suitor, Tom Lewis, is it? Tom Lewis, who was the convict T-Bone in Paddington 2. He was very funny in that as well.
Tom Davis.
Tom Davis.
Just put up on that screen.
Yeah, I didn't think Lewis sounded right. Tom Davis, of course, yeah. He was the convict T-Bone in Paddington 2 as well. It was very funny in that, but he really made me laugh.
I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, why do I know? Of course he was.
Yeah. So this was created, of course, by the team behind Paddington and Paddington 2, and it had that same kind of flair and that same feel for family fun, I thought. Let's see what Andy and Scott made of it as well. Scott was saying there was some discussion on Commode and Mayo's Take, which is a minor film review podcast, comparing it to Mary Poppins. But in Andy's view, it felt much more like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in kind of tone and texture, and I can see that. There's another worldliness about it that brings alive the spirit of the original and fills a lot of the background. I've seen some people say it wasn't dark enough compared to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which had some very dark moments, including cutting a head off a chicken, right? But for me, I didn't kind of link that. I thought this was a Wonka who was young and naive, and he hadn't had that cynicism of old age drilled into him in order to become bitter and twisted.
Yeah. Well, I agree. You know, it's obviously like before the dark times for Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
But I did find there were some bits where, to look at it, you were like, oh, I can see, like, they have given the seed of slight mental unrest, maybe is the phrase for it.
Yeah.
And I thought it worked really quite well.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy also says great visual and audible treats, great song and dance numbers. Have to agree. And the cast all gave it their all, including Hugh Grant. He didn't think it was perfect. He had some questions about the plot and thought it sagged in the middle section. So he still thinks it's worth seeing on the big screen, but he's not as much of a fan of it, I think, as we are. And Scott, he also enjoyed it. Chalamet twinkles with charm. Have to agree. Production design, costumes, hair and makeup, all terrific. And the songs were delightful. Laughed a lot and felt a tug of the heartstrings towards the end. Yes. There was a lot of dust in the cinema at one point, I have to say. Yes. Even though it was horribly contrived how it got to that point, there was a lot of dust around. Yeah. The one thing Scott wasn't a fan of was the three chocolatiers, who he found a little bit annoying. Matt Lucas, in particular. But
I would say Matt Lucas was my least favourite out of that. I do love Matthew Bainton, who's like from Ghosts and some horrible history things as well, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
I do love him, so I was sold.
So, but all in all, Scott thought it was a fantastic family outing in a world of pure imagination. I can't disagree with that. So, in terms of scores, Scott gave it 8 out of 10. Andy gave it a 7 out of 10. I've actually given it a 10 out of 10. I thought it was a classic in the light of Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I'm trying to think of another classic now. Oh, the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Oliver, that type of classic film, which I think will scroll forward 20 years and it'll be on at Christmas and everyone will say, hoo-ah, Wonka's on. Right. Score from you, Emma?
Well, when I came out, I texted my friend and I was like, that's, it is an absolute classic, as you say. 5 out of 5 everlasting gobstoppers. I have come down to a 9 though in the end.
Okay.
But yeah.
Right, so that's a 9, an 8 and a 7 is 17, 24. 34 divided by 4 is 8.5, I think. 8.5 out of 10 as the Flickering Dreams score, which makes Wonka a splendiferous hit.
Indeed.
Okay, great.